Broadcasting live on StarWorldWideNetworks.com. It's time for The Real Deal. Join the ambassador and special guest hosts as they put together great guests and honest commentary on a range of issues. But one of their main topics will be preserving Native American tributes in sports team nicknames. Also avid fans of music and the arts, and they'll always make time for a great song or two. Now, it's time for The Real Deal. Here's your host, the Ambassador.
Welcome to The Real Deal, ladies and gentlemen, at the famous Star Worldwide Networks in the Camelback Towers in beautiful downtown Scottsdale, Arizona. And we are definitely off the reservation tonight. With me tonight is my producer, Kyle Pratt, the son of the infamous Dave Pratt. Say hello, Kyle.
How's it going, Ambassador?
I'm doing good. Also with me tonight is my special, lovely co-host, Taylor Gold, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing, Taylor?
Sexy as ever.
Sexy as ever, absolutely. And so we got some great guests in the studio with us tonight. We got Nick Andrews from fundmybusiness.com. Say hello, Nick.
Howdy.
Good. And then we have a famous doctor, Vahan Setyan. Did I pronounce that right, doctor?
Yes, sir. Yes, you did.
Thank you. And we're going to be talking to them later on in the show, and they're going to be telling our listeners what they do and how they do it. We always need sponsors. We like to thank our sponsor, Grace Propane, with offices in northern Arizona, family-owned business. John and Susan Graves, my company, Humate International, HUMATE.com, and I produce minerals for organic agriculture, soil remediation, and also as a animal feed supplement. We do have a sponsor, Swisher Air Conditioning, who donates a unit to a low-income Native American family in Arizona, one a month. And this is about a $10,000 deal to the family. So please consider being a sponsor. You can always get a hold of me at yellowhorse.us. Don't forget to download the new app. It's all done. And we got a new website, right, Kyle?
Yep, it's a combination of both. We got a mobile version of the website, and it beats our old app by far. So.
Right. And also we got another guest here tonight. Has been on the show, Craig Blanchard from Billigana, some of the finest Indian jewelry in the world, out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. So thank you for coming in, Craig. And so him and another.
It really is gorgeous.
It is absolutely gorgeous. So Billy Ganas, that's the name of his business, and he's been at it a long, long time. He's been a friend of my and Jane's family and the Yellow Horse family for many, many years. And he's just a good guy. And he employs a lot of Native Americans, and he makes high-quality Indian jewelry. We want to thank our listeners all over the country, Native Americans and all Americans coast to coast. I want to thank our listeners in the cities, in the small towns around the country that have been under attack by this Halbritter fiend, this scumbag, Ray Halbritter, that owns a casino, and he has no business owning an Indian casino because he's not even an Oneida Indian, and I can validate that with Claudia Tenney. She's been on our show many times. She is a congresswoman from upstate New York. And he goes around preying on all the schools. He tried to get away with it with Dan Snyder and the Washington Redskins. They told him to go to hell. Kansas City Chiefs told him to go to hell. Cleveland Indians told him to go to hell. Mm-hmm. And he couldn't get anywhere, so now they prey on the schools. And this is their cause. This is their cause, is to wipe out Indian imagery in America.
It's genocide.
Yeah, it is. Social and cultural genocide, just what they did to the Jewish people.
Exactly.
I told you that many times.
And Armenians, too.
Armenians, too, right. Yeah. No, it's true. After the show was over last week, Maggie, my other lovely co-host, she has people come in from China and Taiwan and Singapore. And she had a delegation come in from Beijing, and they come in Thursday. And so we took them to the Navajo Nation, and we took them up to Apache. We toured Indian country, ended up back down here. And I started asking them. I said, they said, we really love your show. and it's very popular in China. And I said, well, thank you. And then I got to digging into it, and they kind of told me, they says, you know why we like your show? Because the same thing that's happening to Native Americans happened to the Chinese people. And I said, what are you talking about? And they talked about this dynasty, and I guess the chairman of China, his name was Mao. I guess this guy was a total maniac.
This guy.
He was burning the books, doing the same thing.
No, they do this still.
Yeah. Do you know anything about this story?
Yeah, it was pretty notorious, but also helpful to a certain extent too. So it's just a matter of looking at it from different perspectives as far as Mao goes. But yeah, he was involved in notorious murder and genocide in his time as well, starvation and so forth.
Yeah, and these people were telling me that. And I remember the name, but I don't remember the history. Yeah. I don't remember anything about this guy. But she was actually telling me the story. She says, I come from this dynasty, this I guess like a royal family in China, and my great-grandmother or whatever and was part of this dynasty. And this guy did the same thing they're trying to perpetuate here in the United States right now, is burn the books, get rid of the race.
Yeah.
And I thought that's kind of amazing.
I remember when I converted to Judaism, and the rabbis taught me something very important that I hadn't heard of before. We always think about things as a melting pot, but we really should think about it as tossing a salad. You know, everyone should be able to keep their identity, and it's still a beautiful salad. It doesn't have to be a stew.
Right?
Right?
Right. Yeah.
It's very important to remember history.
That's a good analogy. Yeah, it really is.
You thank the rabbi. There's a few decades of school on me.
Well, that's great. Thank you, Taylor. I want to thank American Indian Center of the Great Plains, Kansas City, Missouri. Johnny Arnold and I are principals, and that's right in the heart of Indian country in Kansas City, and everything's going well there. Always want to thank our listeners at Channel 3, Jamie Soretta. Now I want to introduce my Navajo father, Peter McDonald. He's going to say something to our Navajo listeners and also the listeners, they call them the 505 Redskins and the 505 Chiefs fan club. And these are all Native Americans that their heart's all behind these teams, and they don't want these names changed. And so he's going to say something to them. Thank you, Peter, please.
Shahas Toy Sazane, Setzelke, Sheke, the Neshike, Notliniki, Shidi Peter McDonald, Dashne, Aska Zahon Slobet, Anibashichin, Adots a card, Nedashinale, Ashi, Dashiche, Totich in Ebask, Esetta, Shada Halia, Kododi, Nini, Eba Hanne, no, Kodoy, Ambassador. Dennis Yellowhorse niji yaltijo yolwol. Akota nini be edebahanne the real deal will yell. Jo koe hashine land ne says yes yadal lahada lahab lahadal now. Diedo kot eda. Ebony na hada kisigi kodo the real deal no yahal negi did nini jo edebahonne. Ako ikena aslagi sto banda yolnito banda notra Graves Company will yov la shibe da no Sunday da jo kodo kwishi without di ikena asla kodo kwichi na long kodo hiji yati.
Thank you, Peter. Peter was president of the Navajo Co-Talkers, current president, and he was four-time president of the Navajo Nation, and we did several shows. All our shows are archived. If you go back a year ago, February, you'll see shows titled Peter MacDonald, M-A-C, capital D-O-N-A-L-D, and that'll talk extensively about the Navajo Code-Talkers. They're some of the best shows we've done here, and we've been on the air for almost 3 years. Now I want to go to my business associate in Washington, D.C. He went to the inauguration with me. We were invited by the Trump people. And his name is Mark Burr. He's traveled all over the world. He speaks 7 different languages. He's a retired Marine, and he's going to say something to our listeners in Spanish because a lot of our listeners lost their own language and their language of choice is Spanish. So, Mark, if you would, please.
Claro que sí, don Dennis. Nuevamente, bienvenidos a nuestra audiencia de hispanoparlantes y a todos nuestros patrocinadores, Graves Propane de Flagstaff y YouMade Internacional de Gallup, Nuevo México, y a todos los radio oyentes a través de la nación y del Real Deal y nuestro anfitrión, el embajador.
Thank you, Mark. Now we're going to go to my lovely co-host from Hong Kong, and she is a jewelry designer, Maggie Yee, and her jewelry is on display at jewelryscottsdale.com. She exhibits in galleries, she does private showings, and she's very, very well known. And because of her, there's a lot of people in Asia that listen to our show, and they actually come in here to meet with me. So, Maggie, if you would, please.
其实这个节目是说美国的印第安人的历史文化啊。Western Post 访问所有美国的印第安人，他们都喜欢 Western Laskin Cannon Sitting Tree 这个名字，但是有的华人要改变这个名字。真的是王马先生为了保护这个名字，他本人做出了好大的牺牲和支持啊。我们希望得到每一位的参与和支持。真的是王马先生还有抽出有机土壤叫友美。如果有需要打我美国电话6025151073。Thanks so much for having me on Real Deal. That's such my honor.
Thank you, Maggie. Star Worldwide Networks, ladies and gentlemen, where I'm here right now in the Camelback Towers, is the largest, fastest-growing internet radio station in the country. 200 shows, 6 million listeners. Kyle, tell them who's number one.
The Real Deal.
You damn right. That's right. And a lot of that has to do, ladies and gentlemen, is because of the fans of the teams that honor Native Americans. And then they tell their people and they tell their friends, and of course Native Americans as well. So that's why we always want to thank the Kansas City Chiefs, the Washington Redskins, Golden State Warriors, Atlanta Braves, Cleveland Indians, Chicago Blackhawks.
Go Golden State.
That's right, for listening and honoring Native Americans by using these names. And just as Taylor said, this is social and cultural genocide, same thing that was done to her people that they're trying to perpetuate right now with Native Americans. Take the land, take the books, and pretty soon there will be no treaties. So that's why this show is very important, and that's why I do it. And if I didn't believe wasn't the underlying current, I wouldn't do it. So we're going to take a short break, and then we're going to come back with some really interesting guests. So, Kyle, why don't you tee up a song for me?
Smile when you see me hurt so bad. Tell me what I did to you, babe, that would make you act like that. Yes, I've been a fool before, baby, and I probably will again. You ain't afraid to let me have it. You ain't afraid to stick it in. Yeah, you know it's so bad. Ways to be wicked.
Okay, we're back. Now I'm going to have my lovely co-host Taylor Gold introduce our first guest. Taylor, if you would, please.
I'm nervous.
Oh, you're okay.
No, really. Doc, is this Harry? Are you really here?
Yes, I am.
Oh my God, I have such a crush on him. I mean, this is the only man on the planet that holds 2 PhDs simultaneously in 2 distinct academic principles. Right? Is that right, Harry, or am I making this up?
No, that's correct. That and a couple bucks, and I can get a soda out of the machine.
Well, welcome to the real deal. This is the ambassador.
Well, Ambassador, it's a delight to be here.
Right, and I think we've met at the Comic-Con. That was here in Phoenix, right?
I don't know if Harry came to the one in Phoenix. He's pretty big time LA.
Okay, well, there was a Comic-Con here in Phoenix, right?
Yeah, tours around the country.
Right. I don't know if you were here, but I went with Kyle, my producer. His father, Dave Pratt, has a presence down there at Comic-Con, and I went down there last year. But why don't you expound on what he's doing and what his field is and who he is? Because a lot of listeners may not know, and that's no disrespect, Harry.
Harry, are you
No, I don't expect anyone to know what I've been doing lately.
You hope, right? Harry, would you just tell everybody a little bit about, your very best friend in the world, what you guys have done between, X Prize, X Avatar? I don't even know where to begin.
Sure. So I am, well, first of all, in terms of my background, I am a scientist, technologist, and entrepreneur, and a writer, producer, director. So I was a writer on Star Trek, Voyager. I've been involved in a variety of science fiction movies and shows. I have a stem cell company that I am a co-founder of, and a VR company. I serve as chief science officer for a energy technology company run by Ken Loesch, which is located there in Arizona.
We love Ken.
And I just was in the founding team for both X Prize and for Singularity University. And one of the things I did last year was I came back to X Prize and created a prize called the Avatar X Prize, which is basically a means of putting your consciousness into a robot or your sensory consciousness. So you'll essentially be able to, in the future, move around the planet by moving your consciousness instead of your meat suit.
That's awesome.
It's so cool.
Is there a website or anything that we can tell our listeners how they can pull up on the web to see all the things that you're doing?
Well, we'll see all the things, but I suggest they can go to the xprize.org website. In terms of the Avatar stuff, NBC ran some nice big stories on it, and so did CNET. They can also find material by going to. I just
goosebumps.
Google my name.
Yeah, literally, I get goosebumps. I just Google Avatar X, and it's like, I mean, Harry, I know how crazy successful you are, but I don't know. Not everybody knows. It's pretty cool, pretty crazy, the stuff you've touched.
Yeah, well, X Prize is a great organization. We just gave another big prize away about 3 weeks ago for the Tricorder X Prize from Qualcomm.
How much? May I ask?
We gave $1 million and $2.5 million to first and second prize team.
Very big.
And that was on a device to help diagnose diseases without going to a doctor.
Goosebumps.
I think some of your people, in the mid 2010, in the middle of the BP oil spill, I had come up with technology to remediate oil spills organically with the University of Oklahoma. And I submitted a proposal with the University of Oklahoma up to Washington, D.C., and it was well received. And they actually asked me to come up to Washington, D.C. to testify in front of the U.S. Senate, which I did. And there was a lot of people in the audience, and somebody with your group come up to me afterwards and gave me their card and said, we enjoyed your testimony, because I called it the organic solution. Because
I'm sending it to you now, Harry, also.
Yeah, send it. You can send the video of me in front.
And I'm sorry, Harry, your wife, I know you're both such amazing supporters of the Native American culture. And Dennis, Yellow Horse, is a... Go ahead, Dennis. Talk about what you do, because he's kind of coming in blind for this.
Yeah, that's right. And I produce minerals on the Navajo Nation in Gallup, New Mexico, for organic agriculture and also soil remediation. So I formed an alliance with the University of Oklahoma probably 15 years ago, maybe more, to come up with technology to remediate soils organically without using chemicals. And we perfected it, and we proved it that it can be done, and we were successful. And we had some grants from the EPA. So when the BP oil spill hit, we called each other, and we got together, and we said, hey, let's send a proposal up to D.C. and let's see where it goes. And actually somebody read it. I was kind of shocked, because there was over 300,000 proposals submitted, and there was only two of us called to testify, myself and Kevin Costner. So I went up there with the University of Oklahoma, with their scientists, and these are some of the best guys in the world for this type of technology. And she's going to send that to you, and you can see it on YouTube. And I'd like to further discuss that with you at some point in time.
Well, really, what I want to talk about. So Ken and I joined Dennis here a few months ago. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. What is your the guy's head Forbes writer, energy writer that you guys work with?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. But before we get too far astray,
I wanted to talk about. Go ahead, please.
To the oil cleanup. X Prize, of course, had our Wendy Schmidt oil cleanup prize, and we have a series of prizes dealing with ocean health and discovery and cleanup. And so, your type of work here is greatly appreciated. We awarded a $500,000 prize a while back because the oil industry itself hadn't changed the way in which it cleaned up oil spills for over 70 years.
Right.
In fact, they're often that way. The prize that we awarded, we had numerous teams that had 200% or more improvement, and then our winning team had a 7x improvement.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We'll talk about that word X in a minute. I really, really need you to talk about something, because we're actually in Arizona. I know that this is internationally broadcast, and in how many different languages?
Probably 7 or 8.
Yeah. So, but I really want to touch on something that is really, for me, has been devastating moving back here, because there's a ton of money here, there's a ton of opportunity, there's a ton of brilliance, and they really have not caught on to crowdfunding or understanding and appreciating the need in a society for technology. And, I don't care if you want to talk about philanthropic venture capital, B Corps, crowdfunding, tech as art, but it has to happen. And a very dear friend of mine has been working with the Arizona State Legislature to basically put some rubber on the pavement in regards to the law that's been passed over 2 years ago, and really no deals have been funded. He has the only state-approved portal, and his name is Nick Andrews. But if you wouldn't mind just touching briefly on what you and Peter, the exponential, insane results that you and Peter have yielded over the last 30 years from crowdfunding.
So, of course, starting with exponential technologies itself. So we are in an age of exponential growth across numerous technologies, and crowdfunding is a key evolution in ways that startups can be funded. And of course, from our perspective, at both the my own businesses, Peter's businesses, and then at Singularity University, we speak a lot about the crowd economy, the crowd resourcing, and crowdfunding. And crowdfunding is taken off all around the globe. So I've worked with crowdfunding groups in China, with crowdfunding groups throughout Russia and Europe, and of course there's numerous ones in the U.S. Laws have been rapidly evolving. So in fact, it was only recently that we started to be able to do both crowd investing. Before that, things like Kickstarter and whatnot is really just advanced purchasing or giving away your money. But now with crowdfunding, laws have been adopted and approved so that companies can raise money through crowd portals. So from my own experience, crowdfunding is just one of the evolutions in using the internet and the connection to resources.
You know, I was invited to do a show in Orlando, Florida, by the city of Orlando last October, and there was entrepreneurs there from all over the world, and there was a group of guys there from Finland, and I'm going to tell them about you, and they come up with a product called Bright Charger, and Bright Charger is a phone charger that you plug into the wall, and as soon as your phone is charged, it shuts off. Where the charger that I use, it goes on, till you unplug it. But this charger, these guys have invented this thing, and it's called Bright Charger, and I'll circle back around with them and Taylor and share their new technology, and they had it there. And I did my radio show there. That's why they flew me over there, me and Maggie. And but it's called Bright Charger, but it's the simple effect of it is soon as your phone's charged, it just automatically shuts off so it don't use any more electricity.
I know, but the phones are just one tiny speck. And I've got to tell you, I know you guys have a prize for equity-based crowdfunding right now. I mean, you and Peter, I'm such a fan. How many years have you guys been best friends? You do everything together.
Since college. So Peter and I have been friends since college.
I know you lost your brother, and you have not had an easy life. You truly are an incredible story. Just your life. That's what you should write a book about, really, a movie. But, and you're just such a lovely, I've had such an honor getting to know you and your beautiful family. But,
well, I will tell you one thing. You're calling me, I'm usually in Los Angeles, or actually I'm all over the planet, but today I just spent the day out in the Pennsylvania area. I'm out in Hollidaysburg, teaching kids via my movie Quantum Quest. So I give about a week a year out here, and a week in a random country where I go and I teach kids K through 12, excite them about science, and just spent the day doing that today out here, and I'll do that for the next 2 days.
That's great. I've been to Hollidaysburg.
Yeah, well, I'd never even heard of it until I came out.
Yeah, it's central Pennsylvania.
What is it with you evil techie guys? I mean, all this money and all this fame, and you guys are always just out hurting people, aren't you? You're amazing. Really, Harry, you're amazing.
Harry, we got to go to our next guest, but I can't thank you enough for taking time to come out and be on The Real Deal with Taylor and I.
Well, it was my pleasure. You guys have a wonderful day.
And Harry, when you come out here to visit Ken, I'm expecting you to do some big dinner with Nick Andrews and really work to get Arizonans spending money, crowdfunding, technology, because a society cannot exist without technology.
That's right.
All right.
Well, I agree about that. It's all about advancing, especially exponential technologies. So you guys take care.
Love you. Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Okay. What an interesting man. Yeah.
You too. Yeah. Not bad, Real Deal.
That's The Real Deal. Okay, we're going to take a
Sounds
short,
like you have a fan.
short break, but before we do that, Taylor, everybody here in the studio, the problem with these people that want to change the names of these sports teams and take away the culture of Native Americans, you know what their problem is?
You can't handle the truth.
They made up their minds and they started packing. They left before the sun came up that day. An exit to eternal summer slacking. But where were they going without ever knowing the way? They drank up the wine and they got to talking. They now had more important things to say. And when the car broke down, they started walking. Where were they going without ever knowing the way? Anyone could see the road that they walk on is making gold. It's always summer, they'll never get cold. Never get hungry, they'll never get old and gray. You can see the shadow wandering off somewhere. They won't make it home, but they really don't care. They wanted the highway, they're happy there today. Children woke up and they couldn't find them. Left before the sun came up that day. They just drove off and left it all behind them. Where were they going without ever knowing the way? Anyone can see the road that they walk on is paved in gold. It's always summer, they'll never get cold. They'll never get hungry, they'll never get old and gray. You can see the shadows wandering off somewhere. They won't make it home, but they really don't care. They wanted the highway, they're happy there today. Anyone could see the road that they walk on is paved in gold. It's always summer, they'll never get cold. They'll never get hungry, they'll never get old and gray. You can see the shadow wandering off somewhere. They won't make it home, but they really don't care. They wanted the highway, they're happy there
Okay, we're back. We are in the Camelback Towers. Now we're going to introduce our other guests. We have a famous doctor here this evening, and he's doing some things with Native Americans, and I'm going to let him expound on that because obviously I'm not a doctor. Johan, if you would, please tell us about what you're doing and how you got involved with Native Americans and what the benefit is and where you want to go from here.
Well, thank you very much. Actually, I have an interesting story just to help you out with what you called about genocide and the culture side and so forth. Back in 2014, I published my second book. It was called Language as a Fingerprint. And in that, I was one of the few who has actually wrote a section about the Navajo Nation and the Dene language and how it has undercurrents between Armenian and Dene together. And I show the rugs, how similar they are.
That's right, the Armenian rugs.
Yeah, and the grammar and so forth. What happened was, actually, the book covers like the last 12,000 years of Armenian history and also Irish and so forth, like how languages are connected with one another, basically. The interesting thing is, 14 months later, I get a call from one of the guys here asking if I can help them to restructure or provide elder care services to the Navajo Nation. I don't know whether it was karma or anything like that, but it was so interesting. They knew that I was doing certain things within healthcare. I'm the president of Ironclad Healthcare Solutions Corporation and also Dovin Advisors. It's a healthcare advisory firm. And
How do you spell? Dovin?
Yeah, DOVIN Advisors. That has been around for so many years, but I created Ironclad Healthcare Solutions Corporation for me to specifically help the Navajo Nation with their elder care. And the former delegate, Mr. Dempsey, asked, can you help us come up with a model that can solve so many issues that our elders are actually facing, and they don't have any help at all. And so I put together a model, and I had the opportunity to present to President Begay and to the legislative department. I did a testification in front of some of the members at the U.S. Senate on Indian Affairs, IHS, and the VA. So we have immense amount of support from healthcare communities, creating agencies, and so forth, but we also are facing some difficulties in having some of the key departments within the Navajo Nation embrace it and fund it. Now, this is a model that can put the Navajo Nation on the map of healthcare innovation. It can actually be a model that other tribes can follow. And it requires such a minimal amount of capital infusion, but it can exponentially grow, and I'll use the doctor's word, exponential. It can actually grow tenfold within 18 months and tenfold again within 5 years. It can lower the cost of hospital care. It can lower the readmissions back to the hospital. Imagine how much money the hospitals can save from having these patients not to come back to the hospital after they get discharged.
Right. What your findings relating to diabetes?
Well, what I have found is that, first of all, the Navajo Nation data is behind at least 10 years. So it's very difficult for me to get real-time data. But through my data mining, I realized that the diabetes rate is well above 50%.
Yeah, it's off the chart.
However, we can mediate that in a very short amount of time by utilizing all the support that we have through the healthcare system, including their hospitals, including their healthcare organizations, and we'll find a way for us to keep these patients not only out of the hospital, but lower their diabetes frequencies and COPD and CHF and so forth. So the heart disease, I have seen kids who they're 5, 6 years old, they have cancer and so forth. So it's just a matter of instilling certain educational systems, translating certain things into the Dene language so they can understand.
Right.
Healthcare literacy. Imagine, we ask each patient, can you read what you're having prescribed? Imagine what a difference it'll make. Yeah, for example, we can prevent people from taking the night medicine in the morning and vice versa.
Oh.
So
that's incredible.
It's education. It's so much education, and it's so important. It's vital.
Absolutely. And I think that this particular model, which has been proprietary and has been shared for a number of circles, so I think that if this can be implemented immediately, because every day we wait, we have more people dying that they don't need to. In other words, we have people who can actually die less in pain, and they can get the care that they need in their homes as well. Imagine home health, palliative, and hospice, and behavioral therapy, and psychiatric nursing, and so forth. All of these policies I have developed specifically for the Navajo Nation because I wanted the Navajo Nation to take this initiative.
I'm so grateful for you because so many people have not gone there.
Yeah, they haven't, and that was the problem. We have multi-billion-dollar organizations who just want to make money off the Navajo Nation or the tribes themselves.
And a lot of that's probably Indian Health Service, too.
Probably. And the thing is, we also need to realize that it's not a matter of not having enough funds. It's a matter of utilizing the funds the right way in a more proper appropriation of funds, and then utilizing it with healthcare professionals and experts who actually know what needs to be done, and with the collaboration and the agreement with the Navajo Nation, for example. Because I don't know what drew me into the Navajo Nation and the Dene people. I think maybe it's their history, because in my book I talk about not only that Armenian history is being falsified, but the Navajo Nation's and the Dene people's history is being falsified as well. In all the historicals that I've read, it's actually they're just it's such a minuscule amount that they talk about the Navajo Nation and the Dene people, and I realized that somebody needs to write something about these people.
Can you tell us what your book is?
It's called,
and a website, please.
Well, it's called Language as a Fingerprint, and if you go to Amazon.com, you'll see the support that I'm getting for this book. But the thing is, he had this.
I'm going to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Because we have to get to Nick, but I want to ask just real deal.
Sure.
Dennis, what do we think about the government having all of our money?
Not good. Not good.
How well do they distribute funds?
Not good.
Yeah.
They distribute funds to the wrong people. But, I've had people come to me with similar ideas about how to deal with diabetes, because it's rampant in Native America.
And it's ridiculous.
And
it's treatable and it's ridiculous.
It is treatable. It is fixable. I already developed the policies for that, and it's just ready for implementation. We just need
money.
No. Not only that, we just need the right people to understand.
Yeah, you are the right people with money.
What we need is what I told Donald Trump. We need to unlock the handcuffs.
That's right.
With Native Americans. We need to unlock the handcuffs and let Native Americans control their own destiny. Because far too long, the Bureau of Indian Affairs and the Indian Health Service and the government has portrayed Indians as victims. They're victims, and we're going to take care of you.
Oh, absolutely. And
that may have been good 100 years ago. I wasn't around then. But that's not.
Send them to our schools, right?
Yeah.
And make them healthy Americans.
But that's not now. There's a lot of tribal people, a lot of tribal leaders, and they've been on this show, and they're educated, they're sincere, their heart's in it. So, and that's what I told Donald Trump. I said, take the handcuffs off and let them control their own destiny.
Absolutely. And when we went up there to Window Rock several times, and we worked with, and we still work with, a Priority 1 certified Navajo business by Mr. Dempsey. We have promised the Economic Development Department that we are going to utilize the Navajo people to help themselves.
Right.
So that's the best thing you can do for the people to really
prioritize.
Absolutely.
A brilliant specialist in this field, of course, is the best. So let's go to Nick right now, because I want to tell you there are so many wonderful things that can be accomplished in exponential. I mean, when I say that, I mean multi-revenue, multi-benefit. Everyone wins. Everyone gets richer. Everyone gets healthier. Everyone gets better. And the government doesn't need to get fatter. And actually, for once, they're stepping aside. So they've put Nick Andrews.
This is a great story. Ladies and gentlemen, Nick Andrews. Nick, if you would, please.
Thanks, Chief. So on April 15th of 2015, our governor here in Arizona, Doug Ducey, signed House Bill 2591. And when he did that, two major things happened. One is it allows any Arizona,
Doug Ducey.
Yes, pro-business governor, allows any Arizona resident the opportunity to invest up to $10,000 in startup businesses. I think that they felt that if somebody could go spend their paycheck at the casino, they might as well let them invest in a small business.
Right, that's right.
And then the second thing that happened is it allows those small businesses to solicit the investments over the internet, which wasn't allowed either. But you have to use an approved portal, and that's where we come in. Our portal is called fundmybusinessaz.com.
One more time.
Fundmybusinessaz.com. We are Arizona's first and only approved equity crowdfunding portal. We help small businesses solicit small investments from around the state. Today we launched a food truck. This proprietor owns 3 restaurants. He's looking to raise $75,000 for a food truck.
I love him, and I love his food. What is it called? Sushi Brokers?
Sushi Brokers.
Love that guy.
So they're doing Sushi Brokers on Wheels, and their social marketing message is they're looking for 750 people to put in $100 each. They're offering a very nice return. In order to see the details, you got to log into the Fund My Business AZ portal.
I know my buddy Brian Moreno has...
I'd throw 100 at him.
Right?
Brian Moreno has done very well working with them over the years.
Oh, absolutely.
They have a restaurant out in North Scottsdale.
Oh, they've got an Arcadia, Chandler, or is it Gilbert or Chandler?
Gilbert, Arcadia, and Scottsdale.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I actually had never met those brothers, and I always thought that they had something to do with Brian's father, but they don't. Just the coolest couple of guys. I had lunch there today randomly with Scott Selden's accountant.
So we've been approached by 70 different companies so far, and we're open to any legal industry. So whether it be a medical device, which we were talking to the doctor about earlier, and we'd love to help you, doctor, fund your project. That'd be fabulous if we could just offer a rate of return for the investors, and they could get a.
Absolutely.
I think that'd be. So
I have a feeling my buddy Eric Kren is going to start offering some prizes. No, really, for some because we have to offer prizes to bring some of the best people forward.
So the way the law is written, an entrepreneur can raise up to $1 million without a financial audit, or between $1 million and $2.5 million, so long as they have a completed financial audit from the prior fiscal year. And what we do is we sit down with them and try to figure out whether they should be offering equity, debt, or some sort of a revenue sharing model. And we're having a lot of fun with this. It's very exciting. Whether a startup is looking for maybe a second or third round of funding, or if they just have a really good idea on the back of a bar napkin, we can help them. We give them the structure they need to use the governor's crowdfunding law.
You know, I met with a kind of a simplistic group the other day, and they were amazing. I mean, you know, it's just one of these, like Eric Crown always says, Arizona is full of 1 million small businesses, and they
have great ideas.
They're incredible. I mean, his company started with his brother, Insight Technologies. I mean, this is mega, and the people that I personally know that he has made multi-millionaires. I've never heard a bad thing said about this man. I would say he is the governor of Arizona forever.
Right.
But, you know, honestly, I have to say that this has to happen. We have to start everyone contributing to each other's incredible ideas and letting the people that run them the right way run them. And it's the people that started them with passion, right?
It's true. And we can help them. So we give them the structure. If they have some business savvy, we can get them through the Fund Ready 10 steps, and then all they need is reach. They can come to Chief for reach.
Yep. Yeah, that's it. That's why we do this show.
And Dave Pratt, right? And
Dave Pratt. This is
his adorable son. Ay, so cute.
But no, seriously, that's the key word there was business acumen.
Yes.
Business acumen. And that's why we supported Donald Trump.
Yes.
And people say, oh, he's a racist. That's a bunch of BS. I'm going to roll the dice with a businessman. I'm tired of politicians. And Ducey is a businessman.
Correct.
He's a businessman, and I voted for him.
All the way.
All the way.
It was my best friend's fraternity brother. He's a great guy.
We got to give businessmen a shot because the politicians have failed us. Republicans, Democrats, all of them. Once they get to Washington, they're sold out to the lobbyists, and they have no business acumen. I mean, look, and I hate to say this to make fun of the Republicans, they had 7 years to come up with a replacement for Obamacare. Oh, we got a replacement. We're going to replace it and repeal it. They had nothing. And Trump...
It's called Coke.
Yeah, Coke. Yeah. No, Trump grabbed them and said, get to work. I mean, these guys only work 1 week a month, I think. Right, Kyle? Yeah. I mean, they're on vacation all the time. It's a dog and pony show over there.
Well, you don't want to be the only one shining.
And yeah, but I'm saying, and I'm not faulting Democrats, Republicans, Independents. It's all
or politicians. We love you too, and we'll take your money. Go. What is?
Yeah, we'll
tell
take
us your website.
Money.
What's your website, Nick?
FundMyBusinessAZ.com.
We don't discredit you, politicians. Please
right.
Fund our
we don't
business.
Discredit you, and please, we need term limits.
But what is the limit for FundMyBusiness.com?
So it's $1 million without a financial audit and between $1 million and $2.5 million, so long as they have a completed financial audit from the prior fiscal year.
I'm sure you'll be fine, guys. You have to have financial audits. So politicians, please come forth and fund local Arizona businesses, tech companies, medical offices, you name it, right?
We're open to any legal
Navajo
industry.
Nation, what would we call that?
Actually, the even just the healthcare service that has the potential to innovate and revolutionize the way we help people, for example.
Right.
If Trump actually hears about this, he would implement this throughout the entire United States.
I wish I was a Navajo because I've not met a doctor so passionate in the last 10 years. And I've dated too.
He thinks outside the box.
Yeah, he does. And the thing is, I really want him to at least to have 5 minutes of just to read the first 2 pages. He'll see how much we can help these people with low cost and help actually put the dollars back into the actual system.
Well, we got some direct contacts with him.
Mm-hmm.
And I was invited to the inauguration by him.
I heard it's a wonderful thing.
I had to be ordained as a female Jewish minister for him.
That's great. Okay, well, I want to thank everybody for coming on, but
Thank you very much.
stick around for a few minutes. We're going to take a short break, and then we'll be right back. We're back. Had a great show, Taylor. Thank you. You're a great co-host.
I'm going to be very sad when my Asian co-host takes over for me.
No, we can have two co-hosts.
Especially when one is tiny and one's Asian.
Yeah, one tiny and one Asian. Yes.
A tiny Asian. We love that.
Right, and I want to thank everybody that was on the show tonight. Harry, I want to thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Taylor.
Thank you very
Tanner.
much.
Yes, absolutely. You always got a voice here. We got the #1 show. We got 6 million listeners. We're rocking the house.
Yeah, it's time to save these people, and it's high time they would do, and we gotta make sure that it's out there and the services are provided to those people. They need it in a dire sense of a word.
Yeah, and the drug companies, I got to tell you guys, so I do a lot of work with Pfizer internationally and BVI and stuff, and we really have got to get some of these drug companies to step up and start taking some leadership. They've got the Sunshine Act, they've got all kind of problems, and they need to start advertising, paying for guys like you to take these initiatives.
Absolutely. So in closing, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank all of our people in the armed services here and abroad for protecting our great country. I'm just here to tell the truth and deliver the message. I'm not here to make any money out of this. And Kyle knows that. Everybody knows that. All my listeners know that. And so please consider sponsoring the show. If you like our show, keep us on the air, because I'll do a show for you if you do a show for me. Right? So buy propane from Graves. Please consider humate.com, humate.com. And you can always get a hold of me at yellowhorse.us, 602-540-3000 for advertising. Kyle, tell everybody all over the world, in Asia, Canada, Mexico, South America.
How much we love our vets.
That's right, how much we love our vets. But tell them all why the hell I'm here.
Kick ass and save names, Ambassador.
I'll see you next Wednesday.
Thank you for listening to The Real Deal. Tune in to The Real Deal with the Ambassador and special guest hosts every Wednesday at 5 p.m. and on demand 24/7 right here on Star Worldwide Networks.